our next module that would be our Wi-Fi hacking part. And for this, I'm going to take my Wi-Fi adapter. So we're going to take any of the Wi-Fi adapter over here. And basically, I'm using this one, TP-Link based receiver. And over here, we can see if I perform IW config is basically used to check the wireless network devices. So my wireless network devices is my IEEE 802.11. And over here, you can see I didn't connect any of my Wi-Fi devices till now. So today we can understand packet injection. So we can understand Wi-Fi hacking today. So let me examine you. Wi-Fi wireless devices are mostly used in large varieties in our home appliances. So the major objective of the Wi-Fi hacking is to check the bandwidth or the frequency levels of the connectivity path. So if you see over here on the screen that a base level over here. So what is Wi-Fi and how does it work? So this is a major important thing. A base level Wi-Fi is a way of getting broadband internet to a device using wireless transmitter and radio signals. A broadband internet to advance using wireless transmitter to a radio signal. This is an important part. Once a transmitter receives data from the internet, it converts the data into the radio signals and then can be used to read Wi-Fi and other sites. And that could lead us in many other ways. So our major objective is to check all the possibilities. Wi-Fi enables devices information that can be exchanged between the transmitter and the device. So over here, when was the Wi-Fi was invented? So the Wi-Fi was invented in the year of 1997. And that was connected with the community called 802.11b. This is a community standard that was created over there. So this leads to creation of one IEEE 802.11, which refers to a set of standards that define communications of wireless network devices, which is your WLAN, wireless area network. IEEE 802.11 is the community which is basically used in large varieties of things. So our major objective of this one is to simply know about some of the few things. As you can see, a basic specification of Wi-Fi was transmitted allowing 2 megabytes per second of transmitter wisely, and it was introduced on the year of 1999. And remember one thing, the frequency level we are using right now, it depends on 2.4 gigahertz and 5 gigahertz, and they have the standard also according to IEEE 802.11, because they are they have differentiate between 11A and 11B. 2.4 gigahertz works on the IEEE standards, which is your 11AB, and 5 gigahertz processor, which works on the 11A. For many years, we know that 2.4 gigahertz was the standard of the first priority after the 4G comes for last 4 or 5 years ago. So our major objective is to check the community levels, how the communication level works between the two nodes, between the client A and the client B, so that can be used for the further transaction part. So over here, as if we talk about the security technologies, our Wi-Fi works with some of the encryption algorithms, you can say security protective ways. You can see over here security technologies which are basically used for hackers. Wireless security technologies are among of the most patent features. Multiple security technologies has been deployed in Wi-Fi to make internet secure technology. Our attack approach will be depends upon those security technologies being deployed. So for example, you can see over here they have given the WEP, which was the first standard, which is your wired equivalent privacy. Wired equivalent privacy is based use on the various surface. Well, that was the first security scheme employed, WEP. But it was through the WEP encryption standard was break easily. For a number of reasons, WEP is extremely easy to crack because of the following implementation of RC4 encryption algorithm. It is not usual to be able to crack WEP in less than 5 minutes. And no one nowadays use WEP. In the real organization, if they are not aware about the Wi-Fi hackings or the Wi-Fi cybersecurity things, they are not secure. The WEP can be hacked in less than the 5 minutes, as they have mentioned, because of the poor RC4 encryption standard they are using. This because WP use a very small 24 bits initializes vector that could be captured in data streams, and 4 could be have been used to discover the password and using statistical techniques. Year by year, when we have jumped to the WPA, which is your wireless protected access. WPA was a response by the industry to reveal weakness of WP. It's often referred to WPA1 to distinguish from WPA2. And they basically use a temporary key integrity protocol to improve the security of WP without requiring a new hardware. It uses WP for encryptions, but it makes the statistical attack using WP cracking more difficult and time consuming. So WPA is also can be hackable with the standard of WP. Nowadays, if we talk about the WPA, WPA2 is basically used in large varieties of the things. For example, WPA2 has two standards, a PSK and a AES. AES is basically used in large organization. PSK stands for pre-shared keys, where you have to authenticate with a single integrity key to get access of the Wi-Fi. WPA PSK is implementation of WPA2 at the home and small businesses users. As the name implies, it's the WPA implementation that uses the pre-shared keys. It's a security standard that is used by most households today, and although it's far more secure, it's vulnerable to various attacks. A feature that was added in 2007 was called Wi-Fi Protected Setup, or WPS, allows you to bypass the security in WPA PSK. And if you look over here, WPA2, which is your AES, Advanced Encryption Standard, it was basically works at the enterprise implementations. It's used advanced encryption standard AES to encrypt the data and the most secure. It's often could be with a radius server dedicated for authentication. A radius with a single row on the server side. Although cracking is possible, it's significantly more difficult. There are various techniques that can be used for cracking the WPA part. But the most important thing, we're going to use our Wi-Fi attack. And the most important thing is the AAA concept. AAA, authorization and accounting. If we talk about the authenticating part, authentication. Authentication refers when you already have a part of that application or the server. That it means your data has been shared between the server side. Authentication refers to unique identification information from each system users, generally in the form of username and password. System administrator monitors and add or delete authorized user from the system. We can see. And if we talk about authorization, authorization means authority to get access to any individual applications or access of any computer network and any resource. Users may be given different authorization levels that limit their access to the network and associated resources. Accounting. Accounting over here refers to a period of time that you have login or working on that specific domain or a network. Accounting refers to record keeping and tracking of the user activities on the computer network for a given time period that may include but not limited to real accounting of the time spent accessing of the network. So our major objective is to simply penetrate or simply check all the possibilities one by one that could be help us for the later response part. Network cost, calculations, billing data, login data, and further things. Pardon me. So over here, we're going to use a AAA concept that can be used for authentication, and AAA concept used in large varieties of things. So our main objective that we're going to perform a manual Wi-Fi hacking. So I have given step by steps all the procedures that we can use it for injection point of view. For example, check the wireless network adapter. Check the wireless network adapter with IF config. So if you see over here, if you put ifconfig, you can see there was an Ethio, there was an LO, which is your local, and there is a WLAN 0, which is your wireless network device. The wireless network device has been connected with my local server. That's why we can see over here. And we have now two interface. So otherwise, you can check with iwconfig. Through iwconfig, you can access the Wi-Fi device. And that would be my, you can see it's using IEEE 802.11 ESSID. So let's have a look. The first thing, if you want to capture or monitor the activities of your surrounding, the Wi-Fi that we are using right now, it will circulate or simply use a sniffing mode. Sniffing mode to identify the nearby Wi-Fi access points. Activate the monitoring mode. We were talking about the monitor mode. So in the previous session of sniffing, we were talking about promises mode. Promises mode is a mode where we activate our monitoring mode to analyze the packets which is around a single radius. So I have given all the commands one by one how to activate the monitor mode or how to deactivate the monitor mode. You can simply put start or stop the monitor mode. So let's do airmon ng. So let's have a look. Let's do men, which is your manual, airmon ng. So airmon ng is a script basically used to identify or to monitor, activate the monitor mode on the server side. So airmon ng, this script can be used to enable monitor mode on wireless interface. It's also be used to back for monitor mode to manage mode. Right now, our network device is on manage mode. So we can enable the monitor mode to simply capture all the surrounding network in our local terminal. So you can see over here, entering the airmon ng command without parameter will show you the interface status. So let's have a look. So let's do airmon ng start WLAN 0, which is my interface. And my interface is my WLAN 0. So you can see over here the monitor mode has been activated over there on the server side. We're showing you WLAN 0 mon. The mon over here stands for monitor mode. So let's have a look. iwconfig. Let's clear this out. Now you can see the mode has been changed to monitor mode. And it's on the frequency level of 2.4.7 gigahertz per second. So it means I can only capture the Wi-Fi signals that has been over there. So let's do ifconfig also. Now you can see over here that WLAN 0, which is over here, mon. Mon stands for monitor mode. It means the interface has been changed to a different mode. So when you have entered the monitor mode, so the next step will be to capture all the network devices in our local radius. So for that one, we can use aerodom ng. Activate the capturing mode in the Wi-Fi, which is your signal capturing part. So aerodump. Let's have a look. Man aerodump. What exactly this means? So aerodump is a use of packet capturing of raw 802.11 for the intent of using the aircraft entry. If you have a GPS or a receiver connected to the computer, aerodump ng is capable for logging and coordinating of the found access point. Access point means your Wi-Fi signals, first of all. So let me show you how it's going to capture the network devices. Our main objective of aerodump ng is to identify the nearby Wi-Fi address. For example, if you click any of the devices, so let me show you. Aerodump ng WLAN 0 mon. We have to specify the entire network file, just like this one. So now you can see all the network devices will be on my screen with the BSS ID, with the power, the beacons, the data, the channel number, the MB, the encryption standard, the ciphertext, the authentication, and the ESS ID. And this one are the number of clients which is connected to that specific device. So BSS ID, let me tell you about the one thing. BSS ID is the MAC address of the device. Power is the range. Beacon packet, the packet which is flowing in the backend. Data type. The most important thing, the channel number. There are around 14 channel numbers, and each and every channel number has a different frequency and bandwidth and the range. If you search for the channel numbers in Google, Wi-Fi channel bandwidth, Wi-Fi channels are each located of the 20 megahertz segment of frequency. So if you look for this one, yes, see, as I mentioned you, each and every standard of 11 has a year, as it described. 1999, this works on 802.11a, which has 54 Mbps speed that use a bandwidth of 5 megahertz processor. Gigahertz processor, sorry, not megahertz, gigahertz. 1999, they had introduced a 11B also, which is 11 Mbps, that was 2.4 gigahertz. 2003, they have introduced 54 Mbps speeds on the 2.4 gigahertz processors. 2009, they have introduced 11N. See, the 11A, B, G, and N, they have the specific standard of frequency speed. 11N is the most powerful, 300 Mbps to 1900 Mbps, which works on 2.4 gigahertz and 5 gigahertz also. 11AC, which works on 500 Mbps per channel. Per channel defines the channel number which works over there. Each and every channel number works with different. If you discover that all your neighbors are using 2.4 gigahertz brands and your wireless performance is unreliable. First, they are trying changing the channel number, and the channel numbers are 1, 16, 11 are preferable for 2.4 gigahertz bandwidth. 1, 16, and 11. See, 1, 6, and 11. I'm using 1, which is my mark. And each and every Wi-Fi signals has described their speeds and part. So you can see over here, these are all gigahertz according to the channel number. Channel number 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. If after changing the channel number, your connection is still unreliable, you can find it's beneficial to get away from the crowded and use the 5.0 gigahertz bands. There's a lots of things. It's all about the frequency level to understand how the channel number works. But the most important thing, if you're using the 5 gigahertz bandwidth, their channel numbers will be different. Channels will basically control how broad the signal is transferring data. Like a highway, the wider the road, the more traffic the data passes through. By increasing the channel number width, we can increase the speed of through the wireless broadcast also. 2.4 gigahertz frequency to 20 megahertz channels, and 20 megahertz channel wide width enough to span a channel number. So that's why if you look over here, you have to specify that these all are the channel numbers which comes in 2.4 gigahertz processor, because my Wi-Fi router only can capable and manage only 2.4 gigahertz. It can capture only 2G part. So over here, the major objective of the Wi-Fi hacking is to simply test the penetrate the skills. So what I'm going to do over here, you can see that these are the number of devices, and this is my MAC address over here. So let's stop this one. So check this one. This is my MAC address and works on channel number 1, and we are using WPA2, and we are using PSK, pre-shared keys, to authenticate to their application, because PSK is used on the household and small industries that could be capable for there. Our major objective of this penetrate is to simply check over there one by one. So let's have a look what we can do. We're gonna try to penetrate in my local network. So I'm gonna make a copy over here. The channel number I'm using 1. Okay. Start capturing the target signals and make a folder to store the keys handshake. So what is a key handshake over here? Key handshake, when we simply share the first key between the nodes to make a connectivity on the target. जब हम फर्स्ट टाइम जब कोई डेटा को शेयर करते हैं या कोई एप्लीकेशन में ऑथेंटिकेट करते हैं तो व्हाट वी डू, वी सिंपली put a password or a key pair to get enter over there. So you can see now we're gonna use a MITM attack, a capturing attack. Why? अगर कोई न्यू क्लाइंट अगर उस नेटवर्क डिवाइस में कनेक्ट हो रहा है तो सबसे पहले वो क्या करेगा, कीज को शेयर करेगा. तो मैं अगर यहाँ पे MITM कर रहा हूँ, मैं अपने बाहर के नेटवर्क में हूँ, तो मैं उसके थ्रू उसको आइडेंटिफाई कर सकता हूँ इजीली. तो मैं यहाँ पे क्या करूँगा, I'm going to use -C which represent the channel number, and there are 14 channel numbers, and every Wi-Fi has a unique channel number, so we can have to put the exact one. Bssid is the MAC address of the target Wi-Fi, and -F write function to make a file on the target. So let's have a look. Arrow dump ng -C channel number 1 -write. तो मैं यहाँ पे जो फोल्डर बनाऊंगा वो मैं रूट डेस्कटॉप में, और इसका नाम दूंगा माँ, and I'm going to do Bssid, which is my MAC address, and the MAC address which I'm going to use over here, that will be this one, and the interface. So through the arrow dump ng, we know about the arrow dump ng is used for capturing all the network packets on the floor. But मैंने इसमें क्या किया arrow dump में कि just capture the packets of the channel number 1 and store those packets on the folder of this specific file which has a MAC address, and use the interface to connect those files. See, so over here this is on this is a MITM attack, but ये MITM attack कब कंप्लीट होगा, जब एक नया डिवाइस उस नेटवर्क में कनेक्ट होगा. तो अगर आप यहाँ पे देखो, these are the MAC address and these are the number of clients. So सबसे पहले यहाँ पे क्या करने का कि अगर मैं यहाँ पे वेट करूंगा कि किसी नए डिवाइस को कनेक्ट करने के लिए, तो it will take a lot of time if you have to wait to connect a new device on the server. So what we're gonna do over here, we're gonna try to apply the 5th step. In this process, we're gonna send some deauthentication packet to the victim, so we can capture the handshake shared between the two clients. Why I'm gonna send some deauthentication packet? Because अगर मैं deauthentication packet भेजूंगा, so it will be a simple DOS attack. A simple DOS attack that could be kick out all the legitimate users on the network device, and it can be give us a proper sequence part. अगर मैं यहाँ पे simple एक network devices को एक simple कोई भी packet को यहाँ पे disable करता हूँ, तो ये it can be help in later part also. So we're gonna use -F deauth packet. We'll jam the Wi-Fi signals, and it can be used to kick out the legitimate users for the network. और अगर मैं जब इसे kick out करूँगा, तो फिर से वो connect होने की कोशिश करेंगे, फिर से वो password डालेंगे, and we can get a Wi-Fi handshake. So let's have a look. So over here, I'm going to use air replay ng. So let's do man before it. Air replay is used to inject or replay frames. means we can simply reply the commands infinitely, how many times we want to repeat that function. The primary function is to generate traffics from later use in AirCrackNG for cracking the WP and WPA2 PSK keys. There are different attacks can be cause authentication, deauthentication part for the purpose. So we're gonna use some deauthentication packet over here to send. So for this case, here replay ng -help. So we're gonna send some deauthentication packet, deauthentication to one or all stations. But over here we're gonna use -a also, or we can use -b, which is our BSS ID. We're gonna specify the BSS ID also here, and we can space -a also set access point of MAC address. So if you see over here, here replay ng -FN deauth packet 1000 packet to the MAC address. So let's use this one. Deauth packet. And so how many deauth packet we want to send? 1000 packets to the MAC address and the WLAN 0 mod. So it's gonna disconnect all the Wi-Fi devices on my network. And over here, if you can see the handshake, a handshake is a temporary key exchange where a new client is connected in the very first day to store their MAC address on my local network device. So we're gonna have to capture the handshake over here. So let's try the deauthentication packet. So over here, you can see the deauthentication packet has been transferred until a new device is captured over here. See, the handshake is easy to be captured. A handshake which contains the words in different phases. You can capture any of the handshake in the worldwide, but the most important part is to crack those handshake. And for that thing, you have to specify all the things one by one, and that could be used in really part. You can see the BSS, the air reply will continues the packet till 100 packet has been sent. And we can see the WPA handshake has been captured. You can capture the handshake key, but the most difficult thing is to analyze or simply use the right dictionary. Suppose if I'm using, if I set a password, if I set a password for my Wi-Fi, what could be to make it strong? What would make it to be secure? We use characters. We use numeric values. We use symbols. And there are many more things can be used over there to simply secure your Wi-Fi network. For example, if my name is Partho, or if I write something about the Lucifer, so what could be there? So it would be D, it would be capital D. It could be your A. It could be your. You have to simply specify what thing it could be. So I just simply write my name, which was Dark Lucifer, in a name like this. And it's a strong password because it contains some characters, numeric and symbols on that can be used for a secure part. So that thing, none of the people, some of the lazy people, they simply put password 1 2 3 4 5 6. Some put I love you. Some put some numeric, random numeric values. So our major objective is to make a proper dictionary. When you have find the hash values, when you have the pkf file, see, this is the pkf file. You can read this pkf file with the help of your Wireshark. Wireshark can read about pkf files. You can open, you can simply go cap file over here, and this cap file will show you all the network traffics which is transformed over there. See, some deauthentication packet was sending, and that was I was sending the deauthentication packet. See, some deauthentication packet was coming from the source IP address to the destination. It was broadcasting the packet from all the network part. So you have to read about all the things one by one over here to analyze the things that could be help us in the really part. So it could be help in various techniques that could be lead us to the injection part. And in this scenario, what we're gonna need, we need a dictionary over here. So I already have my wordlist.meta file, which contains some passwords over here. And I have two dictionaries, which is rocky.txt also. So check this out. Check out this one. The last stage when you in this process, we will use aircrackng to simply perform our dictionary attack. There is a question between a brute force attack and a dictionary attack. Brute force attack is basically used to perform phrases of attack with the combination of word list. And dictionary attack is just an attack where you have the phrases to crack the hash format. So majorly अगर मैं बात करूँ यहाँ पे, so we are gonna use aircrackng to perform a brute force attack or dictionary attack. In aircrackng we have to provide a dictionary, so it will match the hashes with the sum of random words in case if we identify the password. So we're gonna try to use all these possibilities one by one. So let's have the use of aircrackng. Aircrackng -a2 -b, which is your Bssid ID, -w, which stands for your word list, and the cap file that we used. So let's try have a look. So let's try aircrack ng. Let's do manual. So aircrackng is an 802.11 VP. It's used for WPA, WPA2 also. It can be recovered the WP key once enough encrypted packet has been captured with the airdrop ng. You can see this part of aircrackng suits determines whether a WP using the two fundamental methods or not. The first method is to via the PWT approach. So you can try one by one all the possibilities. The main advantage of the PWT. So let's try this one. So let's clear this. Aircrack ng -help. So we're going to use -a, and they have given if you are using A1, which is WEP, and A2, which is WPA2 PSK. So we're going to use A2. And -e is your Bssid ID. We are not going to use this one. We're going to use -b, which is our Bssid ID of target. And over here, we're going to use -w, which is our path of the word list of the file that we're going to specify over here. So aircrack ng A2, which that would be our WPA2 PSK, -b, the Bssid ID, -w, the word list. So the word list that we're gonna give over here, that would be the docu.txt file. You can get the docu.txt file on your user. This is a docu.txt file is a default word list on your Kali Linux. So user share word list. Sorry, it was word list, and you can see they have given docu.txt, which is the default one. So those are the same words over here, nothing else. The first will be your word list. Oh man. aircrackng -a2 -b, that was Bssid ID, -w, that was word list, and we're gonna use rocky.txt, and over here we're gonna specify the cap file. Okay, so cap file is not coming over here, so we're gonna specify with the root desktop, that was ma.cap. So you have to specify the cap file over here. First, you have to specify the word list. Then you have to use the cap file to perform a brute force attack on the application file. So you can see over here, it's gonna take some time, around 23 minutes. Why? Because it's gonna check all the words, all the phrases with the hash values. So EPUL MH is the first last key. This one. But remember one thing. If you are using the dictionary, the word should be over there, because it's gonna convert that word into a hashes that will match to that handshake over there. Our major goal is to simply check all the possibilities one by one that could be lead us to a different capabilities or the things. So one by one, we're gonna check all the things.
सर वो हाइफन A2 को मेंशन किए थे, ये क्या है सर?
A2 मैंने WPA2 के लिए यूज किया था। एयर क्रैक मैं दिखाता हूँ आपको, एयर क्रैक एनजी हाइफन हेल्प, क्योंकि हमारा जो उसका जो टारगेट का जो इंक्रिप्शन स्टैंडर्ड था वो हमारा WPA2 था।
अच्छा,
है ना? सो आपको उसका इंक्रिप्शन स्टैंडर्ड पता होना चाहिए, वो कौन सा इंक्रिप्शन स्टैंडर्ड यूज कर रहा है।
ओके ओके,
हाँ,
समझ गया।
जैसे मेरा जो यूज हो रहा था वो हो रहा था PSK, क्योंकि WPA2 था।
ओके, तो मोड ऑफ एन्क्रिप्शन है वो, इसलिए 2 डाले, A2 हुआ है।
हाँ, अगर आप अगर वो WEP होता तो आप A1 डालते।
ओके ओके,
तो यहाँ पे मैं अपना वर्ड लिस्ट चेंज करता हूँ, बिकॉज वो वर्ड इसमें है नहीं, तो that would be word list. Okay, so you can see over here, this is my exact password of my Wi-Fi, because in that specific word list it has that word. So it means if you are using any word list, the word should be over there, or you should have to gather information before the attacking phase.
so it only crack the password only if our word list has that password, otherwise it will not.
No, there's a many other techniques that we can use it for information gathering part also. We can make a evil twin of that you can say evil twin of that Wi-Fi adapter. We can make a replica of that Wi-Fi. To make the replica of that Wi-Fi, there's a tool called AirGarden. So you can download this application from the GitHub script. You can just search for AirGarden. This application, yes.
So we are making the replica of the target interface.
Yes. AirGarden is one of the tools that which can be used in various techniques. Okay. So I have some applications has been not installed. Get installed. So first of all, you guys have to install all these applications one by one.
So if you are performing this kind of attack, definitely it will impact the production because it will
Yes.
de-authenticate all the devices.
Yes. 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 Exactly. So over here, you have to install all the applications one by one. So I guess there's a brief, there's a light STPD or part also. The following package was unmeant dependencies. Gtextensor package resolver. This may cause to help the packet. Okay, cool. A new version of the script exists. It will be downloaded. So you can check one by one all the possibilities over here.
So if I crack the password of a Wi-Fi of an access
Hmm,
point, so definitely I can even compromise the stations which are connected to access points.
exactly. So you can see over here, they have given Ethio, they have given WLAN MON, which is your wireless device. You can select the second one, and you can try all the things you have. Select another Wi-Fi network, put interface in monitor mode. It's all command line. It's now options. You don't have to use any command lines. So over here, I can see Evil Twin attack on the 7th number. Ah, so I have to install some of the Evil Twin attacks over here. I guess I have to install this one. Apt-get install. It's already written over there. So host apt. I have an error. Evil Twin attacks on sniffing and bitter cap. Let's try with the 8th one. Try to troubleshoot my Evil Twin AP. Okay, I'm having some errors that some of the applications are not installed over here due to some insufficient ports. So, but with the help of AirGarden, we can try lots of other things over here. You can check for Evil Twin offline VAPT2 decrypt menu, Handshake PMKD, DOS attack. But over here, you have to install some of the applications over here. So I have some errors over here. apt-get update. Sometimes you have to make a proper thing. You have to download the dependencies files over there. Still some handful errors. Still, I'm not able to access some of the applications. Air replay attack 6th one. Have you selected any target? No. Select it. Put interface in monitor mode. Explore the target of monitor mode need. So you have to check all the things one by one over here. See, It's going to scan the entire network devices without any coding part. And over here, you can select which part you want to attack. For example, fifth one. Now, fifth one, which you want to do? Authentication packet or what? You can try one by one all the things. Yes, enter. See, the authentication packet has been sent. I don't have to write any code on the server. That could take some time over there. Our major objective is to simply penetrate the skills. See, BSS ID, number channel is 1. The type of encryption is they're using WPA2. So I think I'm using the old version of my Kali Linux. That's why some of the application is not running. So if you guys are running a new version, so you can try those things.